If you're considering getting into the rental property business, now is the time. What you need to do is purchase 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 unit buildings. I would advise you to stay away from the 1 unit property because a single family home is really a liability unless you have about 10 of them, because as soon as your property's empty, you're paying for it out of your pocket, and it's really hard to get a tenant out and get a new tenant in without losing any revenue. Usually you have to go in and paint, clean up, take garbage out. Sometimes tenants don't move out on time, and it's very problematic to show property with tenants in it when you're trying to get somebody out and somebody in the same month. It's difficult. But if you have a duplex, 1 unit's empty, you're still getting enough money. If you bought right, you're still getting enough money in income per month from 1 unit to cover your payment. So you're not digging into your pocket or your savings or your equity. So the best investment for a new investor is to purchase a duplex at a reasonable price that the rent will cover your mortgage from 1 unit. And you can do that, especially today with the prices that are so low. I would definitely be looking for 2, 3, and 4 unit property right now with the prices that are so low, depending on what area of the country. But if you're in the Midwest, there's a lot of 2 and 3 unit properties you can buy inexpensively, and that'll make cash flow right away. If you're in a city like Las Vegas, they don't have anything called duplexes. They don't really exist. The only thing that's similar to that are these side-by-side homes with one common wall, but they're usually owned by individuals, and they don't sell them both at the same time. When Vegas was being built, evidently, part of their planning was to put all the rental properties in a certain area, fourplexes, large neighborhoods of fourplexes, like apartment complexes almost, but they have different owners. So it's just a different type of atmosphere. When I first started out in the Midwest investing, you could find duplexes and triplexes everywhere, in good neighborhoods, bad neighborhoods, in any place you wanted. And it really made for a nice place to start investing and putting your money into units that you could fix up, and you could still have a house in a nice neighborhood and put some money into it, get good rents for it, and people had a nice yard because it was in the neighborhood of single family homes, and usually had a nice garage to go with it. In Vegas, it's different. You're looking at a lot of single family homes and a lot of fourplexes. So if you get in a fourplex, typically it's going to be in a complex that's full of fourplexes. And if you're in a complex full of fourplexes and you have a lot of different investors that are owning property there, you're going to get a lot of different types. You get a lot of different results from the owner, because some people are going to take care of their property very well, and some people are not going to give a crap. They're not going to put anything into it, and if you're next door to one of those properties, it's going to cause you a problem. It's something that is problematic here in Vegas investing. I would prefer to be buying properties, duplexes and triplexes, in single-family neighborhoods, because the single-family neighborhood is always the best for residential living. Living in a fourplex in a neighborhood of fourplexes or a complex of fourplexes is like living in an apartment. The biggest difference in duplexes, triplexes in a city is you're living in a neighborhood. It's not like living in an apartment. You have a house. Even though it's a one portion of a house, it is a house, and you usually have a yard to go with it. So people tend to be happier in duplexes and triplexes that are in neighborhoods because they feel like they're in a home, and they have a yard if they have kids, especially if it's a side-by-side duplex. They can have a backyard, they can have a porch usually, and people tend to gravitate toward those if they have a few kids, and they'll stay for a long time. I've had tenants stay for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years or more, and tenants that were in property that I bought as a duplex or triplex for 10 years before I bought it and stayed for 10 years after I owned it. So you really don't get as much turnover if you can find a great property in a good location. It doesn't even have to be a great location. It can be reasonably good, and just charge fair rent and take good care of the place, and people will stay, and you can make a lot of money. Just treat it like someone's home. I mean, I always tell people, the renters are not just renters. It's not just a rental property. It is someone's home. You're putting someone in their home, and when they live there, it is their home. So don't treat it like it's a rental. You don't have to put the most expensive things in the house, but just treat it with respect and do a nice job when you do things, and don't send people over there with the attitude that, oh, it's just a rental, someone will slap something together. You can definitely do better than that, and just having that attitude will help. And sometimes, I don't know if you want to have pets or not, but sometimes pets can be a hassle. That's what I'll deal with next.